Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Mike Tellerino. I will be your host tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking with the Patriot Guard of Illinois. I have two really awesome guys here. Stitza, did I get that right?
That's close enough.
And Dave.
Correct. That's an easy one.
First of all, what do you do? What's your position with the Guard?
I am the senior ride captain for Region 1, which is Northeast Illinois. We cover the Chicago area to the Wisconsin border, to the Indiana border, as far west as Rockford, and as far south as
Livingston County.
Livingston County. So
Wow.
we have a very big area of operation.
You do. Well, the Patriot Guard of Illinois, you pay respect to fallen veterans and first responders, escorting them to their final resting place. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And it's all composed of motorcycles. These individuals dedicate their time and energy to serve those who served us. I think, you know what, I was so honored to have you guys here because what you're doing for these families, to pay the honor to them that they deserve, I just find that so amazing. It really does. For what you guys do to help these families get a little closure, or let them know that people really do care about, their loss and stuff like that, and just to be there for them. What inspired the creation of the Patriot Guard?
2005, there were 5 Vietnam veterans, American Legion members in Oklahoma, and there was an organization called the Westboro Baptist Church. They're not a church, they are a cult. And what they still do, is protest military funerals. They're a disgusting group of people.
Yeah.
And these 5 veterans said, not on our watch. They went out there, they got between the protesters and the mourning family. And they say that was 2005. There were 27 members of Westboro Baptist Church, 5 members who eventually became the Patriot Guard Riders. We are now 250, 300,000 coast to coast, and Westboro has about 50 members.
Wow.
So I think we beat them.
Wow. That's amazing. Do the members have a specific role when you do an escort? Are there certain members that do certain things?
Well, the rag captain, he's the one in charge of the mission, but he's basically the only. Or there's generally 2 rag captains in a mission, but they're the only ones that have a specific task to do. The rest of them are they're holding flags. They're doing they're
Right. How do you manage the logistics of that? I mean, when you get a call that they want you to escort a fallen veteran or a first responder, do you have to plan that out? What kind of planning goes into that?
Depending on the scope of the mission, if it's, obviously a KIA active duty death would be much larger than a veteran. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there is none greater or lesser than the other. But in the scope of things, a KIA, you have to work with law enforcement to get the highway support. You have media calling. You have to work with the funeral homes, families, military. A veteran's funeral, again, we try to get law enforcement to help with the escort. Again, we work with the funeral homes. And
do they readily help you guys when you call them?
Most of the time.
Especially, I would think to honor a veteran, I think.
Yeah. Some cities, villages are better than others at it.
Sure.
Some really don't do much, and others really jump in and really, really help us out.
I've seen one of your escorts, and I was just sat back, and I was just so taken back by it. I just felt so proud that we had guys like you and your group out there honoring our veterans, which we need to do more of. So, thank you for what you're doing for our veterans and first responders. Can anyone become a part of your group? What does it take? What are the qualifications to become a member?
Our only qualification is that you be a patriotic American. You don't have to be a biker. You don't have to be a veteran. We have both. And we have a lot of, like I said, non-bikers, non-veterans. I myself am not a veteran, but I am a biker. And if you care, you are welcome to join us.
So, I mean, you don't have to be a veteran, you don't have to own a motorcycle. You just have to want to be patriotic enough to help escort these fallen veterans and first responders.
Exactly.
That's great. I would have to think that the families of the veteran or first responder that you're escorting, they have to really feel good about what you're doing for them.
They do.
Even though they're going through a rough time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They still have to look at you and thank you for honoring my son or my fallen veteran.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
really, to me, that would be such an honor. You know, so it's great that you guys are out there honoring these families and stuff. What are the challenges of putting together a ride like this? What's your biggest obstacle of them all? The logistics of the ride?
I mean, the logistics pretty much falls into place. I mean, when you're new, yes, it's daunting.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this since 2008. I've been senior ride captain, I think about 8 years now. So,
Wow.
yeah, it is a big responsibility.
So you're the one that would plan the route out?
Well, that's why I have ride captains.
Right.
Seats as my assistant. But, if I get a request for a funeral, I'll put up on our group, we have this available. Does anybody want to run it?
I know Todd, who's a good friend of mine. He's part of your group, and Todd looks so forward to participating and going on these rides. His heart is in it 101%.
Definitely.
He's such a good guy in that respect. So God, again, thank you guys for what
He's been on the other side.
Yes, he has.
His nephew got
Right,
killed
I know.
in
He's-
action. So he was on that other
Yeah,
side.
he knows what it's like.
Yeah,
And
so-
his nephew is on our memorial in Shanahan State Park. So again, you know firsthand what it's like to lose somebody and what it means to them to have somebody honoring them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole purpose, is showing these families that, hey, they're not forgotten. There's people that do care.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. Is there a difference between doing a first responder and a veteran in the way you do things?
I mean, as far as the honors, no. I mean, as a first responder, it's a little easier getting police support because chances are they're a police officer or a firefighter, and their towns will definitely come out and help us.
Yeah. Well, show me that picture.
This one.
Yeah.
No.
So you just did this one, right?
Yeah. This was Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that they escorted to their final resting place just last Monday.
Yeah.
This past
Yeah.
Monday.
He was on a B-24. He was a navigator on a B-24 during World War II in 1944, and they were on a bombing mission to bomb a Messerschmitt factory, and they succeeded. They bombed the factory, but as they turned and came back, they met flak and fighters and everything else, and out of 25 that left, only 13 came back.
13 bombers out of
Yeah.
25
Yeah,
returned.
and his was one of them that was shot down, and he was lost. He was lost for a long time until December of
How
last
did they
year.
go about that? I mean, I hear about that they recovered the remains of a soldier from World War II or the Korean War. Do you know anything about that process? What they
When
do?
remains are found, they will gather as many of the remains as possible. They are then sent to the Punch Bowl, which is a national cemetery in Hawaii, where they track the DNA, extract the DNA, and there's a national database of survivors who would like their loved ones returned. So if their DNA is in a database and they find a match, then they will be repatriated, brought back to their hometown.
What if they don't find a DNA match? What do they do with the
They
body?
will remain in the Punch Bowl for perpetuity.
Really? They'll just keep them there.
Well,
They-
that's a national
Yeah,
cemetery.
it's a national cemetery.
It's a national
Right.
cemetery.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, it's got to be hard. A family that, like this family that just got their son's remains back, or the family just got their remains back of this veteran, it's got to be hard for them.
Yeah.
In this young man's case,
But it's also got to be really happy.
Yeah.
it is. But this young man had no family members left. I mean, he had family members, but none that knew him. But we did meet his nephew, and we had a great conversation with them.
They have
There was quite a family showing for
Yeah.
this one. There was at least 20, 25 family members
So-
at
How long has it been since he died to they found his remains?
1944 to
Yeah, from 44
80 years.
till December of last year. So
80 years he's been
Yeah.
Wow.
waiting to come home.
80 years just to come home. Unbelievable. How do you work with other organizations when you do an escort?
We do. We work with Warriors Watch. We work with Rolling Thunder, Canaryville Veterans, VFWs, American Legions. Everybody is welcome to our missions. We
That's
are not an
great.
exclusive organization.
Yeah, so you partner with other groups just to get the mission done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is your biggest challenge when you escort a fallen veteran or first responder?
And there really are no challenges. I mean, you know, there's a lot of work to do, but everybody is very agreeable. I mean, since I've been doing this, I have never seen Westboro Baptist Church. I mean, they were the big obstacle in the beginning, but they're all but gone now.
if there is a challenge, I'd say it's the safety of everyone,
That
because people don't pay attention.
Oh, don't I know that?
I mean,
Being a bike rider
cut
myself,
right
yeah.
into your funeral procession.
Even when
and-
they see a possession going by like that,
Yeah.
they still just.
yeah, just jump
I've
right
seen them tuck
Yeah.
in right behind the hearse, the lead police car. They don't care.
and
Really?
they'll turn their flashers on so then they can go through red lights and everything too.
That's got to be dangerous.
Oh.
I mean, especially guys on the motorcycles. You know, and I love when I see someone texting on their phone, and I'm on my bike. I go, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Can you describe the atmosphere during a typical escort? It's got to be a very solemn affair.
Well, the last three we've done were all repatriations, where we were bringing home someone that had been missing for 74 to 80 years.
Wow.
And so those, in a sense, are happy because
Well,
you're
sure, they
bringing,
finally get
you're
their-
finally
Right.
this person's finally being brought back to
Right.
their hometown, or But yeah, they're somber in this, they're still family, and they're still grieving, even though they lost them 70, 80 years ago.
Did you escort Ellen French?
We did not escort her, but we were there. We were
Were ya?
at the funeral home. We paid our respects.
Yeah.
CPD handles their own fallen,
Do they?
and they don't reach out to us, but we show up anyway, just
Sure.
unofficially
Just to pay
show
your
our
respects.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, we
fact,
have her partner in our
one of
service dog
these-
program.
is Ella's morning band.
Oh.
Those are police officers that we have buried.
What future plans do you have for the Patriot Guard?
Keep on doing what we're doing.
We were talking earlier about getting new people to come on board so we can carry this on to continue to help honor our fallen veterans and first responders. What would you say to somebody that's watching the program? How would you convince them that, you know what, hey, you need to jump on board. We need to continue this legacy that we're doing.
Well, my personal story, 2007, there was war going on in the Middle East, and I was looking for something to do to honor our military. I was seeing different organizations, and I would look into them, and nothing came up. And I saw, sadly, a KIA funeral with the Patriot Guard escort. And I said, that's what I
for
want to
me.
do.
That's for me.
And it was 2008. If you're looking for something to do, if you want to honor our military, come out. You do one Patriot Guard mission, you will be back. I see it all the time. People come and they're hooked.
I know Todd is. That's all he does is talk about it.
In my case, this patch that I have right here, this is my father-in-law. He was in World War II,
That's how we met.
and that's how I met Dave. I called and asked them to honor him, and I rode with them that day. And when I saw everything they did, I went home that night and I signed up, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, it's such an honorable thing to be a part of. It really is. I mean, do you work with like VFWs and American Legions? Do you have any kind of collaboration with them?
Not really collaboration. Like I say, they're all welcome to join us. And, well, actually, they do call us when their members die. They say, we got one of our members, will you honor them? And my answer is absolutely.
What would you say is your most memorable experience out of all the rides you've been on? Each one of you.
One of them that comes to mind is going back to one of the KIA World War II repatriations. This forever young man's sister, who knew him, was still alive. She was 96 years old.
Wow.
And I met her at the airport. She got out of the limo, and I just, as I do, I introduced myself and I gave her a hug. And she wouldn't let go.
Ah,
I saw her after the funeral, and she said, when you gave me that hug, I needed that hug. And I'll just never forget that.
I know. I know the feeling. Only too well. Yours?
I actually, there's two. One was just a regular mission for a veteran. He was a former pastor, and when I presented this lady we generally present a plaque. When I presented his wife with the plaque, the look on her face, the look of gratitude on her face. I mean, I'll go to my grave remembering it, because it just really.
I'm the CEO of the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, and we have the families of our fallen veterans who committed suicide. We have a big, huge ceremony, bagpipe player, taps. We do. I mean, it's a big to-do that we put on for these families and stuff. And the mothers or the wives of the veterans who committed suicide, they'll come up to me and they'll say, Michael, I can't believe somebody is finally recognizing my son for his service to the country. And they have tears in their eyes because because the son committed suicide, is looked down on. That's the general consensus of it and stuff like that. And these families, they need to be acknowledged that their son's death actually meant something to somebody. So when we add that name to the memorial, to me, we can't do nothing for that veteran. And as we were talking about earlier, I said if there's one takeaway message is I want them to know that those names that we're putting on that wall, those veterans are heroes and they need to be honored. And what did you just say? There was, you made an anecdote out there about...
Rocky Lynn, who started Tribute to the Troops, calls that a 7,000-mile sniper shot.
Yeah, it's just insane. It's these poor guys, and there's nothing for them.
No, and what I always say is we do not judge them by their final act. We look at their life as a whole.
And their service to our country.
Absolutely.
They took that oath and they wrote that check and they had to cash it.
Yeah, when we feel bad that it was a suicide, but we don't treat it any. We honor their service just as well as anybody else.
And I think that's what the public needs to acknowledge. When you got a KIA and there's a big to-do about it, they deserve every honor they get and then some. I don't think you could do enough for the veteran or his family or anything like that. But these families that lose somebody to suicide, it's so emotionally hard on them, as we were talking earlier in the green room. It's that they always have that question: what could I have done? What should I have done? But getting back to the Guard, again, what you guys do, what your group does, it takes a lot to do it, a lot of dedication. It really does. I mean, to step up to say, you know what, we're going to honor this veteran. We're going to honor this first responder. I mean, what greater honor can you give to that family or to that fallen veteran? You know, it's just great. I mean, like I said, when I see you guys in your escort, it's like I just get the goosebumps because it's just such a good feeling to see that there's people out there that are honoring our veterans in the way that you guys are doing. You know, what could where would a new member go if after watching this podcast or TV show, where would they go if they wanted to enlist and become part of your group?
To go to our national website is patriotguard.org. That is how you join the organization. If you want to get notifications of Illinois, our website is ilpatriotguard.com. That is where you will sign up for email notifications. And you will get an email every time there is a mission in the state of Illinois.
So that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
And whether you're a writer, if you're not a writer, then how would you participate in it?
You would do everything that we do, except you'll be in your car instead of on your bike.
So they put the cars in the
Absolutely.
possession too? How many bikes typically do you have, for an escort? I think
Again, it depends on the scope of the mission, but
Right.
a veterans funeral, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, we're usually 5 to 10 members.
Okay.
And obviously, the active duties, the airport escorts, we get more people on those.
Right. Now you take them to Abraham Lincoln
We take them wherever
where they
final
want, so it
resting
doesn't have
places.
to be just Abraham
No.
Lincoln. If they have a private cemetery the family wants them interred at, then that's where you would take them.
We took one young man to Oostburg, Wisconsin
Ooh.
in early spring. The further north we got, the colder it got. We took a repatriation to Hudson, Wisconsin.
Hudson, Wisconsin.
Which is on the Mississippi River.
That was
Wow.
300 miles.
Your group.
Our group. We took him from O'Hare to Hudson, Wisconsin, 300 miles one way.
Wow. That's a trip.
That's a long trip.
Yeah, and we round trip that one. that
But
day.
again, it's such an honor, I guess, for you guys to be able to do that for these families.
It is.
And they have to be thrilled beyond belief that there's people that are out there showing their support for them and for their family that typically, if it wasn't for you guys, they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know?
The gratitude that we get, it's sometimes it's overwhelming.
Oh, I know. When I see these families on the memorial that we have in Shanahan, it's like when I see what it means to them to have somebody finally recognize their loss. To me, that's why I do what I do.
And I know in your case with the Forgotten Warriors Memorial, just again, I know so many families who lost their loved ones to PTSD, and there's the stigma that they have to deal
Exactly.
with. And to let them know that we care.
And it's important to these families because that's all they have.
Yep.
That's all they have. And like you said, the stigma of suicide, in the VA, they don't even want to acknowledge it. They really don't because it shows a weakness, in the military. Like, if you join, you're going to get PTSD and eventually kill yourself.
Well, going back to 2008 when I started, suicides would come home in a cardboard box with no escort, no fanfare, no honor guard. We were the only honors they got. Now, at least the military recognizes suicide
It's about
as
time.
a casualty.
It's about
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, they need they all the military branches need to do something because we're losing as many active military as we are veterans, if not more.
We're having a ceremony in September, and I got a call from a mother that her son, active duty, is going through a lot of turmoil in his life. He walked in his barracks, active duty, and shot himself. Mm-hmm. He's active duty. Yeah. So, these families have to contend with that and live with that. And it's just really hard on these families. I just think we need to do, the VA needs to do more for these families.
Absolutely.
Because when our veterans come home with PTSD, they're not, their family that they're returning to, they don't know this guy that's coming home anymore, this person. Joe is not the same Joe that left.
Right.
And they need to better prepare these families for who's coming home and what they're going to be going through. There'd be less divorces, there'd be less problems, and I'm getting that 1 minute warning again. Okay, one more time, guys, and I can't thank how much I appreciate you guys being here tonight. It's really an honor. Tell us where we go to join your group, or if they want to make a you take donations, right? Please, if you want to donate to a great cause, donate to the Illinois
As
Patriot
I always
Guard.
say, nothing is ever expected for what we do.
No, I know that.
Everything is appreciated.
Well,
Again,
tell 'em where they go.
ilpatriotguard.com. There is a tab on there to join and a tab to make a donation.
Well,
And everything is appreciated.
you guys are amazing, and I can't thank you enough for what you're doing, for being my guest tonight. I really want everyone to know exactly what you do and what it takes to do what you do, and how you honor our fallen, whether it's a veteran or a first responder. God bless you guys for what you're doing. It's so amazing. Thank you, because what you're doing is from your heart. You're not doing it for any other reason other than to honor our fallen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
And thank you.
Thanks
It's
for
been a
having
real
us.
pleasure. I'm serious. We'll have to, hopefully we could do this again, and hopefully we'll get some new blood into the organization.
Let's
So
hope.
we can carry this legacy on. I know, like I said, I know Todd. He's all about whenever time we ride together, it's all about the Patriot Guard. So good night, and thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you on the second Thursday of next month at 7:30.
Thank you. Good night.